CMS officially putting it out there that they had made the decision to pull back their previous decision to take away agents' abilities to write applications with the FEMA SEP for Medicare Advantage and Part D prescription drug plans. For those of you that aren't aware of this, though, and kind of like what's been going on with this, we talked about it on this show when it first came out that they had made this decision to take this away from agents. So FEMA SEP, it's disaster SEP, special enrollment period, right? A special enrollment period meaning a reason you can enroll someone outside of their normal enrollment periods, AEP, OEP, getting on to Medicare, IEP, all of those things. FEMA is a disaster SEP. So let's say you live back east, you get slammed with a hurricane, house washes away.
Yep.
Like your house is literally like perfectly preserved, but it's floating in the ocean. You know, you may qualify for a special enrollment period to change your Medicare Advantage plan. It's a natural disaster, right? Fires in California, tornadoes, whatever, right? And it's an SEP that has become extremely polarized because one could make the argument that it has been abused, no better word to say it, by a lot of people without the industry. And so CMS made the decision previously that it was going to be taken away from agents being able to use it. In fact, a carrier directly couldn't use it. A person to be able to use it would have to reach out to Medicare directly, 1-800-Medicare, enroll into a plan with that. They could not go through any agent or anything like that. And that was CMS's attempt essentially to prevent these abuses from continuing. So fast forward to last week, they put out this announcement stating that this will not be happening anymore. And it almost sounded like, based on the wording in the memo, that they are still trying. They're going to go back to the drawing board to decide what they're going to do about this SEP. But for now, business as usual. Glenn, what was your reaction when you saw this? What's the first thing that came to your mind? It was
a total deja vu moment for me, because this felt like the FCC ruling all over again. I mean, the FCC ruling came down to the midnight hour. The FCC ruling was just literally, from a business perspective, it was literally like the last minute before it went into effect, literally, right? Because it was late Friday afternoon. This is going into effect Monday morning. So we had a little bit more time outside OEP before this went into effect. I mean, not a whole lot of time. I mean, you're talking about a week, really, right? And it's spring break this week. So they were probably like, oh, shit, we got to get this out before spring break, right? I mean, for some of the country. So that was my first thought. My first thought was like, oh, okay. So this is what we're doing now is we're rolling back, which I'm not necessarily against. We already kind of talked right previously about the thoughts and feelings behind this, as far as whether we thought this was a good or bad thing. But now that it's been reversed, the question is this now a good or bad thing? It's tough because, similar to the FCC rule, there's a lot of call centers, FMOs, IMOs, and agencies that I think had already charted new paths for the off season. Based on conversations that I've had, I've already talked a little bit on the show about some of these conversations. We just rolled out dental vision hearing leads at Lead Heroes last week. We have fixed cost dental vision hearing leads at Lead Heroes. That's partially in response to the demand for more opportunities in the off season. And there's plenty of people, again, that I've talked to that they've already charted this new path, partially because of this disaster SEP going away. So now that it's, how many people are going to completely change direction just because this is back now? I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be, everyone's like, oh, okay, forget everything I planned. We're going to keep abusing disaster SEP instead this offseason. I don't know how much of that's really going to take place. The comments were really interesting. to me. There was a ton of commentary about this, about why this happened. I saw people say the lobbying worked. The call centers lobbied for this. They got it back. I saw people say Medicare.gov realized they couldn't handle the calls. So they brought it back because there's no way they could handle all the calls from people calling in trying to get this SEP. But
everyone's got a theory.
Everyone has their own theory. So that was like my initial reaction to this, though. What was your first reaction when you saw it?
Yeah, I mean, I think my first reaction was kind of similarly to yours. I was like, it was very deja vu for the FCC situation. I was like, oh, wow. Because, it really is not quite at the last hour, but pretty close, right?
Very close.
And, who knows why this actually happened? I mean, maybe it was lobbyists. It's looking like it's a very probable possibility that Oz will be sworn in. Maybe behind the scenes, he's, having more influence than you think.
I like this theory.
I don't know. Like,
Mehmet,
because
was
you think
it you?
When was it that
smile.
CMS?
Look at that smile. He's smirking, you guys.
But you got to think, like, when was it that CMS put this first ruling out? I want to say it was January or December or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
What would make them change paths in a few months like that? You know what I mean? Probably a power struggle. That's what I think. Like, why would you put a ruling out and then within not even a quarter, you're like, just kidding, we were wrong? Like, it sounds to me like
it could be blowback from some of these bigger call centers and agencies. There could have been potentially some big blowback where they were like, you guys are nuts if you're taking this away, right? Like,
and it could be that too, right? At the end of the day, it is all speculation, which, we've been accused. We've been accused of being habitual speculators on this podcast.
Ooh, give me a T-shirt. Habitual speculator.
Habitual professional habitual speculator.
Professional habitual speculator.
But at the end of the day, like, who knows exactly why it's happening? But those are the first things that came to my mind. I think that the next question is this good, bad, or what is this? Is this good, bad? Does it not really matter for the industry? Is it good, bad for agents? I think there's two sides of this. I think in some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad. I'll talk about the good first. Anytime CMS takes an enrollment period that a customer can use to change their plan and makes it to where they have to go through them to use it, it opens up a possibility to where you can lose a client and there's nothing you can do about it. Right? So I'm not in favor of that. I don't like that at all. I like anytime somebody is able to compliantly change their plan. I think it's fair that agents should be allowed to assist them with that enrollment.
True.
I don't like it to where it's like, okay, they can change their plan, but they have to go directly to us and cut you out and sorry, not sorry, little Billy. And so I think that's the good side of this. I don't feel like all around that's ever good for an agent. I'd be more comfortable if they just completely banned it altogether and no one could use it, period, regardless of how it's used. I'd be more comfortable with that than it still being around, but an agent can't assist with the enrollment. I just think that that's not a good standard to set whatsoever. So that's the good. Now let's talk about the bad. The reason why it's such a controversial enrollment period is a lot of you have probably seen it's been used by bigger organizations, call center like organizations, to churn business all year round. And it's blatant. It's being used in, like, there might be like a hurricane in Florida and someone fills out an app in like Wisconsin and says hurricane SCP.
Yeah.
FEMA.
Yeah.
It's like, but there was no hurricane, but no one checks. It's like, all right, you're good. You're in.
Right.
Plan changed. And so
Well, that's my understanding of this, right? Is that this is essentially a way to guaranteed issue switch a Medicare Advantage beneficiary year round, and that
it's going to
no
depend
one's
on
ever been. Who has anyone ever been rejected for using this that you're aware of? Have you ever heard a story, seen a post, a comment? I use this. It got
Yes.
rejected by the carrier.
Yes. I don't want to go into details. I don't want to go into details.
You had to really think about that, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
not like
a lot.
a common. Yeah.
Not a lot, but once or twice. I think it a lot of times comes down to the carrier. I think some carriers were actually doing a pretty decent job of actually taking a look at the application and seeing if there was a viable disaster that happened in the location that the app was coming from.